Hello everybody, it's time for a brand new vlog. Today we're taking a look at, or we're talking about really, the remake of a horror movie, Leprechaun. Today it's Leprechaun Origins.
Oh, really?
No, Bobby, you're not going to be in this video.
Oh.
I know. Next one, I promise.
Okay.
Alright, so, let's talk about this stinker. I wonder if I should touch on the original Leprechaun movies as I'm talking about this. I have watched just about all of them, which I know is sad. That's mainly because, I mean, when I did get into my horror movie phase when I was a teenager, I watched every horror movie that was out, including horror movie series. And I watched Leprechaun. And Leprechaun is really only, I guess, famous or popular because it was the first movie of Jennifer Aniston's career, and it did have Warwick Davis in it as the Leprechaun. And I just find it funny how in the trailer for the remake of Leprechaun Origins, they tout it as the remake of an icon. And I wonder, like, was the Leprechaun, this creature of the horror series, was it ever an icon? Because I'm pretty sure it's not up there with Freddy or Michael Myers or Leatherface, or Jason, or any of those guys. I'm pretty sure it's not up there with any of those horror movie icons. Because I'm pretty sure the Leprechaun is looked upon as a joke, and not taken seriously. And plus, how could you take it seriously? It's a midget dressed up as an Irish stereotype. That's all it is. And yeah, I mean, he is a little bit of a monster, and he does have magic. And by the way, the Leprechaun in here, he doesn't have magic. He just, I'm gonna slash at you, and I'm probably gonna slightly eat you. That's it, pretty much. But yeah, I watched just about all the Leprechaun movies, including Leprechaun Into Hood. I think that one had Snoop Dogg in it. I think. They were all pretty dumb, and they kept on changing their rules a lot of the time. Like in, I think the only ostensible rule in Leprechaun 1 was that if you had a 4-leaf clover, you were able to keep him back, and then you were able to kill him with it. Leprechaun 2, they make the rule of, as long as if you possess one of his gold coins, he can't hurt you. And also they bring up the whole thing about granting wishes in that one too. And then in 3, I think they just threw out all the rules and just said, fuck it. Which was kind of stupid because because I think I watched them all in like a marathon, and I thought, like, so wait a minute, so if he... So it's in movie 2, if you have the coin, he can't hurt you, then how come in 1, he could hurt you even when you had the coin? And then in 3, he kills somebody while they're holding the coin, and trying to make a wish. But he already made his wish, so, and... Yeah, they got dumber and dumber and dumber, but they were already pretty silly to begin with. Of course, the trailer makes the first one, and in the film they kind of act like it's meant to be taken seriously, so but maybe that was always the thing about the Leprechaun movies, so who knows. And now I'm going to awkwardly edit this to me talking about the Leprechaun remake. It's interesting to note that this one was produced by WWE Productions, and that the part of the Leprechaun is played by wrestler Hornswoggle. I'm not sure if a lot of people probably know who he is, or maybe a lot of people do. He's a midget wrestler, basically, and his shtick was that he would often dress up as a leprechaun. So I assume that when people probably heard about a Leprechaun remake, that everybody thought, like, so he's just doing what he's always done. Well, no, actually, in this, he's in a full-on monster suit. It's a tiny little elven or leprechaunish stark white monster with razor sharp teeth, and he never has a line of dialogue. He's just a straight up monster. That's kind of cool. It's a shame though that the movie is pretty mediocre. It's pretty forgettable. So what happens is these 4 tourists, one of them is majoring in a lot of history, namely Celtic history, and so they're taking a tour of Ireland. Her boyfriend and their 2 friends, kind of a douchey drinker, and the woman, the other woman, if they did have names, I can't remember them. The only other one I remember is Sophie, and that's our lead heroine at one point. And they're touring, and they go off to this tiny little village that, according to their history books, had only been around for 300 years. And they meet this guy, this Irish local, played by Gary Chalk, who, if you don't know who he is, he's done a lot of voice work. He's been in a few other movies, I'm sure. But I know him, if I remember, and I'm getting this correctly, as the guy who provided the voice work for Optimus Primal of the Beast Wars series. If that's actually him, though, I'm not entirely positive about that. But he's an Irish local, and he tells them a little bit about, you should really check out this one spot that not a lot of people know about. And there's a nearby cabin where I'll be happy to take you, and you can stay there overnight. And double cross, they lock him in the cabin and leave him there to be devoured and killed by the leprechaun. His backstory goes that these people discovered this cave where there was a shit ton of gold, and they took it all, and the leprechaun wants it back. And this has been going on for, I guess, ever since the town was built 300 years ago. And nobody's tried killing it, because I guess it's not immortal. Or if it is, I mean, it's never really alluded. Okay, so what happens is they get out of the cabin, and they're being stalked and hunted, and it goes through a lot of chasing, a lot of people falling down, getting captured again, and then escaping, kind of getting captured again, until there's only one person left, Sophie, our lead. And Gary Chalk, or Seamus, because he's Irish, his youngest boy, or his only son, he's always been very uneven about this whole thing about sacrificing people so that they can keep all their gold and keep the leprechaun appeased so it doesn't go into town to start murdering people like I guess it's been doing for the past several years or so. And he tries to help her. Actually, he tries to help him on quite a few occasions. Seamus, he gets his comeuppance. He and his son fight while he tries to protect her, and she runs off, and he gets thrown down the stairs and hurt pretty bad. Leprechaun goes after him and kills him brutally. We're never really sure if his son lives or not. Chases after her. She distracts him with this big lump of gold, with these gold coins that we see very early on in the film from a couple of people who survived and are trying to get away. They're trying to get to this stone that it's alluded to, says that Well, they think, anyway, it's never actually said or specified in any form of the rules, that once they get to the stone or get past the stone, the leprechaun cannot touch them. And instead of doing that, she stumbles upon the big bag of gold and a big-ass machete that was left there earlier by the surviving couple. They didn't make it. I know, surprise, right? And she tempts him with the gold coins, chucks them into the air, and says the line from the original Leprechaun, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms," and then cuts off his head and then runs off. But it also ends where after she gets to the stone, she starts hearing multiple noises of what sounds like multiple leprechaun monsters. Though this whole time we were only seeing one. So, is there more than one, or did it come back to life? No, movie ends. And yeah, this movie was pretty forgettable. I mean, it wasn't terrible. There were parts that were pretty dumb. There were some parts where I was kind of confused, because this is an R-rated movie, and they do show, quite a bit of up-close, nasty gore. Like at one point, the other girlfriend, she gets her tongue piercing ripped out because it's made of gold. She also gets her gold earring ripped off. And there's an interesting death where they concoct this plan to go back to the original cabin. This is after they've been captured again and escape. They concoct a plan to try to kill it, where they're going to wait in the cabin and they're going to tempt it through the same way that it got in originally, which was through the fireplace. And the fireplace has this sort of hidden back door to it, where it's not a real fireplace. And somebody has to stay outside, so once it goes in, they can trap it inside and then they can kill it as it's coming in. Well, that doesn't go too well. Leprechaun catches the girl who was waiting outside to do it, and we get kind of a false scare where the Leprechaun shoves her through the fireplace, and they think it's the Leprechaun, and our lead girl Sophie, who's wielding a big-ass axe, kills her. Stomps her right in the face with it. Which kind of made me laugh, which I know is terrible. But at the same time I was like, oh, damn! And they show it, too. I mean, I'm sure it's a CGI effect. I'm pretty sure it's not practical. The chopping off of the leprechaun head, though, looked pretty practical, though. But yeah, this movie was pretty forgettable. Nothing all too special about it. Like I said, a lot of the characters were pretty pretty forgettable. Nothing too special. So yeah, Leprechaun series, Leprechaun remake. As far as horror movie goes, or at least as far as the series goes, it's a slight step up, but it's still Leprechaun, so I doubt anybody who is at all familiar with the Leprechaun series. I do wonder if there are any fans out there who actually think that the Leprechaun series is cool, and non-ironically. But I would say this was a right step in a particular direction to have it be taken a bit more seriously. I don't know. Although I thought it was, I still think it was pretty mediocre. I rented it off of the PlayStation Network for like $4. I wouldn't watch it again. I would say it's a rental. So, rating-wise, should I even bother giving it a rating? I mean, it's a rental. I'd say... I gotta give it a 4 out of 10. I was pretty damn bored for most of it. I almost actually thought about going out to Hastings and and renting this. Instead, I just said, screw that. I'll just rent it off of my gaming system. Oh well, at least that means I don't have to take it back. So, yeah, Leprechaun Origins. I find it funny how so many remakes these days, I mean, not all of them, but quite a few of them, they feel the need to add a subtitle to it when it's a remake or a prequel, and it's just, especially when it's kind of pointless. I mean, why didn't they just call it Leprechaun, or I don't know, screw it. Doesn't matter. Well, the only other thing that's going on is that I'm seeing about trying to hopefully get started soon on working on some new episodes of Reviews from the Room. We actually, my sister and I, we just got finished trying to shoot some stuff, and was just editing a whole bunch of stuff for the flashy new intro. I'm wondering if it should be shortened, because it's a little over a minute. So, and I'm just wondering if that's a little bit too long. So, and I'm also worried because things are changing now on YouTube with the Viacom lawsuit against YouTube. Because obviously, I guess that was why when I tried to re-upload episode 4 of Reviews from the Room, which was my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, because it kept on getting blocked, and it didn't matter how many times I severely edited it and tried cutting out as much movie footage as I could to try and shorten it, but it still kept getting blocked. So I imagine maybe that's what's happening with this. So, and that has me worried, because at the same time, like, how am I to know that when I try and do my Reviews from the Room episode, I'm not sure how many I'll be able to get to in October, but that has me worried when, how am I to know that when I use movie clips in them, no matter how short they are, how am I to know the video is not just going to get blocked anyway? Now, I mean, if it gets a third-party claim, that's fine. I mean, that really doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm not really in this to try and make money, though that would be nice. You know, I mean, a little extra income. Yeah, why not? You know, and at the same time, you know, I can entertain other people. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, it's a scary fact. Well, I mean, more or less, it's just a frustrating fact, too, of when you try and, you know, put, you know, some real hard work into something, especially something that you care about, and it gets blocked instantly. So, that sucks, but, oh well. Again, at least I'm not trying to do this as a job. Well, until then, I'll stop rambling, and those are my thoughts on Leprechaun Origins. It's pretty mediocre. It's a rental. 4 out of 10. Bleh. Alright. Good night, everybody. See ya.